Okay, welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to construct that color wheel that you made the swatches for the other day. This is my second attempt at this video, so let's hope this one goes through right. I'm going to change the camera angle and show you what I'm working on. And I'm also going to tell you something very important. I should have a little siren sound. This is an actual piece of color theory, so attend well. One of the things that people say about color, and you've heard me talk about cool and warm colors before, and one of the things that artists rely on and make use of is the idea that there's this push and pull between warm and cool colors. Basically, cool colors are said to recede, to kind of move away from our eyes visually, and warm colors advance. All right, does that make sense? So if you were trying to make an image where you wanted something to sort of stick out more, or be more, to feel more intimate, let's say, you might make that a warmer color, a red, a yellow, something like that. Whereas if you were going to paint something that was supposed to be in the distance of your picture, you might use cool colors, right? You might use like dark blue or green or something in the background. Does that make sense? We'll talk more about warm and cool. You'll get tired of it. In fact, I'm going to do a little test with you right now. But first, how am I making this color wheel? I'm making mine kind of based on this little diagram. And I first made a kind of a template by tracing this onto the cardboard and then cutting it out. And I did a clever way of transferring it, which I'm going to show you. This was in my other film. The first thing I did was I just traced along the sort of truncated pie slice, not very cleanly, but don't worry about that. I want you to be really clear on this. The important part was mixing the colors. Making this color wheel is a bit of a fussy piece of construction, and you should not fret if it comes out less perfect, okay, than you would like it to. That isn't a problem. That's not an issue at all. And you don't even have to make yours with these same sizes. Oh, look, see, it did it right there. That's not where I wanted it to make a transfer, but it did. So then what you do is you take this pencil line on this side, set it down where you want to transfer the line. It's just a quick way to transfer lines. You can trace the same on the back, and that will press the graphite into your cardboard. Do you see how it left an outline there that I can follow? It's like a quick way to make like a transfer paper, like carbon paper. Okay, enough about that. So you've got a little template or maybe a little hole. You could set these over your color swatches and cut them out. That would be up to you. But one of the things that happens is when you cut them, when you trace them, you get a little bit of extra line in there. And what you're going to have is that they don't line up as tight as you'd like them to. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I have a little map here to tell me what I'm doing. Sorry about that. Let's put the red at the top. Now, I made a couple. Remember I talked about this? I said I wasn't sure which one I was going to like. These are a little bit different. I'm going to want to see which one I like better once I put the other colors in. So red, orange could go there. And I'm not gluing it down yet. I'm just laying it out. Orange would go here, and I don't know. That's too light. I think I want that one. I think that one isn't going to work. And then yellow, orange is here. Yellow is there. I have an extra yellow too, but I didn't cut it out. Yellow, green is there. Green goes down here at the bottom. Oh, and look at that. I left a little line on my teal. That'll have to be cut out better. That green, I don't know. Let's see. See that little line? I'm going to have to cut that out. And I just cut these with the scissors. You could do them with an X-Acto knife. They would probably still have little alignment issues. One way that I've seen people solve that, and I think it's very clever, I think it's a good way, is you build the whole thing on another piece of paper, glue it all down as well as you can, then take like a compass, make a new line in there, and then cut that away. So then all these little curvy pieces that don't quite line up, you're removing them by making a whole new kind of a donut, and then you would melt that onto another piece of Bristol board. Okay, so your chips are Bristol board, and you're going to glue them down onto Bristol board, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to go, what, blue goes next. Boy, my blue does not look like it's halfway between those. I mean, this, it doesn't look like it's in that color at all, but I'm not going to worry about that. There's my blue violet. I made another one in case I didn't like that one. And then I have this violet, and that means I'm missing one. See, my circle is not lining up well. I need a whole other square in there, which is red violet. And this is the kind of thing that could make you a little bit crazy. So if you're feeling a little bit crazy because this stuff isn't lining up well, I made two of those because I want to think about which one looks better. See, I think that one is too close to my violet. So unless I change my violet, I think I'm better off with this one, which has more red in it. I also have a different red, which has more orange in it. You see how that's kind of different? Anyway. Okay, so all these little tiny corners that don't line up and these slices of white, ooh, that's so irritating. Well, you could separate them a little bit and have them not touch. That's one thing you could do. That would be fine. I kind of like them touching, so I'm going to make mine touch. But another thing you could do is you could glue a little overlap so you got them to sort of fit well, right? That's another possibility. And the third possibility, and this is the one you're probably going to have to do a little of no matter what, is you could just go, well, this isn't the important part, and I'm going to just get this to look reasonably good and call it a day. I don't want you going crazy over over these fussy little parts for a color wheel that, although we like to have this thing done as evidence that you mixed all these colors for me, is really what it is. It's just evidence that you have gone to the trouble to mix the colors, which is where the real learning about how to mix colors is happening, right? But, okay, I want to do one other thing. I want to talk to you about warm and cool again and ask you kind of a trick one. So let's sweep all that away for now. So I'm just going to go through them and ask you, okay, warm or cool? Right, it's warm. That's an easy one. We're going to put the warms on the right, cools on the left. Okay, let's take another one. Well, is it warm or cool? I am going to call this one a cool. Another easy one, warm or cool? Right, warm. Warm or cool? Cool. Warm or cool? You got it, it's warm. Definitely cool. It starts to get easier, right? If it looks a little like these, it's cool. If it looks a little like these, it's warm. But let's do a tougher one. Poor green, it's right in the middle, isn't it? But we're going to put it into the cool side. Okay. What about that green? I know. We're definitely going to put that on the warm side. It looks warm. Right. Also warm. Another one. Also warm. Let me find you a cool one. Yep. Okay. What about that weird color? That weird blue-green? Where do I want to put that? I hope all this stuff, all these little schnitzels are kind of distracting. Sorry about that. What do you think? Yeah, definitely cool. You got it. Okay, another warm one. Another warm one. Two cools. And another cool one. So when you see them this way, I think you can really tell which are warm and which are cool, right? When they start to accumulate. But what about weird mixes, right? What about colors that are optically mixing? And I had some beautiful swatches here. Here they are. What do we do? Let's move that over. What do we do with something like this, right? This is mixing through two layers, through transparency. I had a purple swatch that I laid down very thinly over a yellow, couple of strokes of yellow. And it's a really interesting, earthy, beautiful color because yellow and violet are opposites. And when the complements, the opposites are mixed, they make really interesting, beautiful, and rich neutral tones. So that is what's happening here, right? You're getting a color that has sort of some of the properties of both. I would say that this half of it was warm. This half of it doesn't even count. It's just purple. It's just the violet. But there's definitely cool elements in this color, okay? this is when colors start to get super interesting. And this is another one I made with transparencies, right? I had a little bit swatch of kind of green, and I put a very thin layer of the purple or the violet gouache over the top. So what is that color? That color, can you kind of see that? That is a cool color. And that is another thing I need to tell you about. If you're having trouble deciding whether your colors are cool or warm, or even what your colors are, you might need to build yourself a tool. And that tool is a little piece of paper, just like an index card, with a hole punched through the center. Because if you can isolate the color away from its neighbors, because that's the thing, colors are always changing depending on what we see them next to. Do you see how that's very different depending on what it's next to? When I put this red next to this yellow green, it turns much more yellow to me. But if I put a purple next to it, I think it turns more green. Okay. And you know, this is subjective, right? This is how everybody's eyes see these a little bit differently, but generally you can kind of agree on some of these things that we see. Okay. So how do I figure out what that color is? Well, this little hole, which I don't have here, and I apologize for that, would let me really see that color without the influence of the purple and the green, right? So what I'm going to do, instead of having this hole punch out to show you, I'm going to just cut it out, right? I'm cutting the color free from its from what it was next to. And now I can look at that and really decide what color that is. And I'm sorry it's not bigger, but I still say that's a cool color, but it's quite gray. And when it was connected to the green and the purple, it was much easier for me to see it as purple and as violet and green. And when I see it this way, I sort of would have trouble deciding how to make that color, right? So if you isolate your colors, if you're trying to match a color, like say I needed to match that, if I had this little hole punch tool, and I'll have one for you next time, I'll make one and bring it over. I would be able to more easily tell what that color was because I'd be taking away any influence that a neighboring color was having on it. Okay. Sometimes in design work, you might need to match a color, and it can be a helpful way to learn how to do that. All right, I think that's it. I'm gonna glue this down. You're gonna glue yours down. You're gonna upload it, and everything's gonna be great. One other thing, and I hesitate to even go into this because I really don't care which direction you do it. But you remember that I said that I was going to put red up here. I think people actually put yellow on the top. I guess I could do that, but no, who cares? And then I went to red orange. I could just as easily build this the other direction. Does that make sense? I could put the red here, the red orange there, the orange next, and continue on down here. Green is always going to be in the same position, opposite of red. And, or I could do it the other way, right? With the red orange on this side. I don't care which way you do it. There's probably a right way, but I don't care about that. So build it the way it seems right to you. And if you don't like red as your top color, so to speak, you can put something else up there in the 12 o'clock position. You could have anything there. This is sort of, you know, it's your color wheel at this point. All right. Okay, I think that's all I have to tell you about this. It's probably more than you needed to know. And until we meet again, that's all.